I'm excited to be here tonight. I know you guys are too, and I appreciate everybody in the chat. If you're listening to this via iTunes, if you want to be a part of the show, it's streamed on YouTube Monday through Thursday. So just subscribe to NMD TV, and you can be about Canes After Dark. You can be in the chat, and we're going to do a Q&A at the end and really talk about what's going on and what you guys think about our Canes right now. Okay, but first I do want to let you know that this show is brought to you by Amazon. Hey, Valentine's Day is Friday, guys, so get your girl something from Amazon. But make sure you hit the link in the description and in the show notes of the podcast. If you hit that link, that lets the people over at Amazon know that NMD TV sent you. So go ahead, get your girl something nice for Valentine's Day. But before you do, make sure you hit the Amazon link in the description and in the show notes and help out the show, okay? So, according to 247, Miami got the 13th ranked class in the nation. When it was all said and done, we were ranked 13th. And some people are excited about that, and some people think you got to have a top 10 class or it's a failure. And some people, they're kind of in the middle of it. I understand all views, and I'm not going to kill you for what you believe in. But if you look at the Miami recruiting in the last 10 years or so, this has always kind of been where we've landed, around the 10th to 13th spot. We did have a top 10 finish with Chad Thomas class, and then most recently we had the Storm 18 class, Storm 18, with Brevin Jordan and Neston, those guys, and I think they were 8th. And I'm doing all this based off 24/7. So, should we be excited about 13? Should we be should we be going crazy over the 13th? I don't know. I think if we want to be champions, if we want to get back to where we go, I think we do got to eventually start to get those top 10 classes, but we also got to add the coaching and the development along with that. It has to be a mixture of both. You got to have the top 10 class, the high-ranking class, and then you got to be able to develop those players. I see people in the chat right now bringing up Clemson. They did a great job of developing those players. I'm going to talk about Isaiah Simmons later in the show because I'm comparing him to somebody. But Isaiah Simmons was a 3-star that you developed him so much that look where you're at. We got a $5 super chat from Bradley. Shout out to Bradley on the YouTube channel. I appreciate it, Bradley. I will say this. I think we should be excited about this class. I think we should be very excited. And the reason is because I try not to get too emotional during the season. I love my Miami Hurricanes, so I do get that way. But if you would have asked me in the midst of us losing to Georgia Tech at home, what we would have been ranked, if you would have asked me after we lost to FIU, what we would have been ranked, losing to Louisiana Tech in our bowl game, not scoring a point. On that day, there was no other game really on. There wasn't a lot going on, and we didn't score a point. Recruits are watching this. If you would have asked me then what we would have been ranked, I probably would have threw out 28, 29, or 30. To be perfectly honest with you. At that time, it was a real bad cloud around Miami. But this is one reason I wanted to make this video and really wrap up the impact players of this 2020 class, because I do want to give credit to not only Manny Diaz and the staff, to not only Bandit, who had a great year in recruiting, but we got to give a credit to the new guys in charge of the recruiting. Andy Vaughn, Cooney, Van Dyke, all those guys. And I think if you look at how 6 and 7 getting shut out in a bowl game, and we were able to be ranked 13th, a top 15 class, hey, I'll take that. And I'll be happy with that. Because you got to give credit to the coaching staff because they stayed after guys that did it. And we also got to give a shout out to some of our guys that we signed, because Listen, guys, we are quick to go after players that either commit and decommit, or players that that don't come to Miami. We're quick to go at them. But let's give a shout out to guys like Don Chaney, who stay loyal. And guys, let me tell you, Georgia was coming after Don Chaney like nobody's business. Let's give a shout out to Tyler Van Dyke, who stuck to his commitment even after we fired Dan Enos. And then the icing on the cake was when Avante Williams decided to come to Miami over the Gators, totally ruining their day. It was a great day when Avante Williams, 4-star defensive back, chose us over Florida. So that was the icing on the cake. So I wanted to break down this class and just kind of talk about a couple different things. And I definitely want to give you my 3 players that are going to make an impact in this 2020 class, okay? So the breakdown looks like this. This is according to 247. We were ranked 13th nationally, 2nd in the ACC, 22 total commits, 10 4-stars, 12 3-stars. A record-breaking 14 of the players have already enrolled. You know, that broke a record for Miami, and that was huge. You know, to get these players on campus, to get them into spring ball, to get them accustomed to college life, to get them to want to come to Miami and enroll early during this terrible season that we had, that's big time. And before I talk about my 3 players, I do want to let everybody know that we will be missing a couple of the 2020 guys during spring or summer spring because of the injuries. Don Chaney, Austin Cave, Corey Flagg, Michael Redding, all listed as injured. Not sure if they'll miss all of spring, but I think it's important to realize that some of these guys are going to be dinged up when we're talking about how they're going to get these reps or if they're not going to get reps. So 3 players that I think can make an impact, okay? 3 that I think are going to make an impact out of this 2020 class. And I think it was Brett from YouTube. You already stole my number 1, Brett. Rooster. Now, I'm a little biased when it comes to Rooster because, you know, when you were looking at this 2020 class and looking at the different guys that could possibly come to Miami, Rooster was one of the guys that Miami was after early, you know. He flirted with Ohio State. He committed to Florida State, but Miami stuck with him. I didn't know if we would actually get him, but I was like, if we could get that player, that would be amazing to add to the addition of Don Chaney. I like Jalen Knighton. He could possibly make an impact next season. The depth chart sets up nicely for either Chaney or Knighton to come in and possibly play right away. To possibly come in and make an impact. And you look at it, you got Cam Harris. He's going to be our number 1. Robert Burns, to me, he is a short yardage back. I think that's what we should use him for. Running back 2, in my opinion, either Don Chaney or Jalen Knighton. And I've seen the conversation go back and forth. Who's better? Who's this? Jalen Knighton or Chaney? I think they're both great. But I think with Chaney being hurt just a little bit, I think that's going to give Knighton a little bit of a head start. Rooster, 5'9", 195 pounds, is a playmaker. Is dynamite out the backfield. Can catch, can run inside, can run outside, can juke you on a dime, can jump over you, can spin out for you. I've literally watched games where you're there to make the play, the defender is there to make the play, but Rooster not only gets away from him, able to juke him, but able to keep his vision down, juke the second guy, and outrun everybody else. So, and I think he's going to do most of his damage catching and receiving out of the backfield. SMU, fast-paced offense. Rhett Lashley's offense is going to be fast-paced attacking. It's going to attack you. So I think the running backs are going to be rotating a lot. When you look up SMU stats last year, they had 2 running back with over 100 with over 100 attempts. They had Xavier Jones with 244 attempts rushing the ball, and you had K'Mon Freeman with 122 attempts. And that doesn't even count the receptions that they got. I just looked up the attempts that they had. So you often saw a lot of rotation with the running backs. Now, I've listened to a lot of Rhett Lashley's interviews and things of that nature. It seems like he's going to build this offense around our talent. So one's got to figure we're going to have De'Aaron King in there getting some carries at quarterback because we're going to use his legs. He's dynamic in that position. But either Jalen Knighton or Don Chaney can make an impact. And just my gut feeling, and a little bit of bias because I'm a big fan of Rooster. And I'm a big fan of Don Chaney too. But I think Don Chaney is that guy that can make that impact. It can be a playmaker next year. That's my first player. Second player is probably the most obvious player that nobody will probably even debate me on this. And that's Jalen Rivers out of Oak Leaf. 4-star, 6'6", over 300-pound tackle. Lord knows. Lord knows. And I definitely want you guys to comment on my impact players. I'm going to do a Q&A at the end of the show. I definitely want to hear what you got to say about that. Jalen Rivers. Our offensive line was terrible last year. We did see slight improvement, but I do think Rhett Lashley's offense is going to help out this offensive line. I do think hiring Coach Justice is going to help out this offensive line. I myself don't know what Coach Justice will be able to do. I can only take the word of people that know him. And Larry Bluestein came on this show and told me that not only is Guerin a good coach, he's a good developer of players. He can relate to the players. So if he's able to live up the hype and live up to what Larry Bluestein, a guy that I respect more than anybody, then I think that can help out Jalen Rivers touch the field quickly at Miami. Actually, I think going into the offensive line, I think, we got a lot of youngsters on the offensive line. Donaldson, he's going to be out for the spring, is from what I'm hearing. He's injured. But I think all positions got to be open, especially the tackle. Zion Nelson, Clark, those guys, they did what they could last year. And, of course, they'll improve. But I think Jalen Rivers can either start. The guy's already 6'6", 300, over 300. He's already got that part down. The thing that amazed everybody about Zion Nelson is the weight that he put on. That he put in that work in the weight room. Well, Jalen Rivers, he already has the size to play at the college football level. The thing is, will he be able to do it? Will he be able to beat out Zion or Clark? In a lot of different interviews, he said he could play tackle or guard. We'll have to see. But getting Jalen Rivers was a big get, and he's a guy that I think can make an impact. Those two, Jalen Knighton and Rivers, are two that I really think can make an impact. Those two are for sure. Now, the third one, it's a player that I like, and it's a player that I think can make an impact. But he can win the position. It's Michael Redding, okay? 4-star wide receiver out of IMG. I look at our wide receiving core: Brian Hightower, transfer portal; Jeff Thomas, NFL; KJ Osborne, NFL. We don't have a consistent wide receiver coming back next year. We don't have a consistent wide receiver coming back next year. D. Wiggins, he had that good streak and then disappeared. Mark Pope, I think if he's put in an offense that can play to his strength, that can get him the ball in space, we're going to see a playmaker. But we haven't seen that consistently. A lot of people were excited about Jeremiah Payton, and for some reason, he didn't touch the field last year. I don't know why. That was crazy to me. I thought we'd see more of Jeremiah Payton. And I believe it is on the offense. I believe it is on the type of offense that you're running. J.E. Love, he says it's on the offense to let them play. I agree. But I got Michael Redding. And a lot of people like Xavier Restrepo. I've heard a lot of people talk about the new guy, Kayshawn Smith. But Michael Redding just seems like a polished wide receiver, ready to compete, ready to make plays. 6'1", 195 pounds. Good at route running. His coaches talked about his work ethic and his route running. Good at high pointing the ball. Strong hands. A lot of people talk about going to get Tyreek Black. A lot of people I'm hearing I saw my guy Cole, shout out to Cole. He put up, I believe, a message about a North Texas wide receiver. I think we got good young wide receivers. But do we have a receiver that can consistently make the big plays? I think Michael Redding can come in and compete. Will he win the starting job? I don't know. But I think he can come in and compete. Jalen Knighton and Jalen Rivers are two guys that I'm willing to put some money on they can make an impact next year. Michael Redding, I put him on the list. He's my third. I like him a lot. Tyreek Black, not a huge fan of Tyreek Black. Not a huge fan of Tyreek Black. I think he gets injured a lot. I'm expecting a lot from Jeremiah Payton next year. D. Wiggins. We'll see what happens. Now, I just named 3 impact players. from the 2020 class. But we got to remember, guys, high school ball is different from college ball. Those are 3 players that I think can make an impact, but you never know until they strap on the pads. Because this time last year, what were we talking about? We were talking about Pope. We were talking about Hightower. More specifically, in the 2019 class, we were talking about Jeremiah Payton. Jeremiah Payton got on campus early. To me, he looked good in the spring game. Ran over Trajan Bandy one time. I don't know if nobody ever talks about that. But he never saw the field a lot. And maybe that was because of KJ or because of the offense, because of Dan Enos. My point is, it's very tough to come in as a true freshman and play right away and make an impact. You look at Clark and Nelson, those guys, they struggled as freshmen. Jalen Knighton, Jalen Rivers, Michael Redding, just a couple people, just a couple players that I think are going to make an impact in this 2020 class. I see a lot of questions about how the show is going to go today, and I do want to talk to you about how the show is going to go, okay?